Part 37. The Strongest Assassin in the Server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 361. The Bloody Squad also has a holy word mage. You know, the Shang Wang is the leader of the top 10 giants, and his funds are unfathomable. The local tyrant girl Shen Kaijin in the throne, a little girl, still owns a luxury car, a private sea view villa. And the Shang Wang is her elder brother. You can imagine how rich the Shang Wang is. Moreover, the Shang Wang is also a veteran in the game, leading the Shang Alliance to dominate the Chinese war zone for several years, and is willing to spend a lot of money in the game. His team is naturally built with a lot of money. Now there are more kings joining, which is extremely powerful. The Holy Word Mage is an extremely rare hidden profession, and there are more than one or two in the Bloody Squad alone. Their Holy Word Mage has long used the reading skill to find out the details of the Swamp King. Knowing that he has the liquefaction skill. Sure enough, as soon as a sneer appeared on the faces of Yukiang Bloody and others, the Swamp King turned into a pool of black liquid, instantly got rid of the tentacles of the Octopus King, and sank. In the swamp area, the Swamp King emerged from the other side, and then jumped, smashing towards the huge head of the Octopus King with great momentum. Heavy pressure. Dash. The Swamp King and the Octopus King are both national lords. Even though the Octopus King is large in size, the Swamp King is not afraid of it at all. When provoked, he goes berserk. In addition, no matter how strong the Octopus King is, it has now become a pet, and its HP has been greatly reduced. The Swamp King pressed down heavily, and the Octopus King screamed and was killed instantly. The huge body turned into countless stars and dissipated. Hiss. The Octopus King was also killed instantly. Tank, Big Fried Chicken and others were in the swamp and suddenly felt desperate. If it weren't for the swamp, their army could completely use the human wave tactics to crush the national boss, but the current situation is like this, and they can't do anything. If only we had a Holy Word Mage. Tank couldn't help but smile bitterly in his heart. Swamp area is obviously also a skill. If the team has a Holy Word Mage, they can also mute it. But no matter how much he thought, Tank knew that there was no Holy Word Mage in the entire throne. On the other side, Big Fried Chicken was sweating coldly and felt desperate. He was so powerful today, completely relying on the Octopus King, but the Octopus King was killed in one move, which made him terrified. Of course, he could revive the Octopus King, but it didn't make much sense. The opponent killed him in one move, so it was useless to revive him several times. More importantly, the army has been opening up Zhihaixia all the way and has now reached the last few islands of the first stage. During this period, the Octopus King made great contributions, but he also died many times. The milk bottle in Big Fried Chicken's hand could not keep up with the consumption. Now the Octopus King's favorability is only 72 points. Big Fried Chicken clearly felt that sometimes the Octopus King's actions would be delayed a lot, which was obviously the reason for the decline in favorability. If the favorability continues to decline, the Octopus King may even rebel. Every time he thinks of this, Big Fried Chicken shudders. If he lost the Octopus King, he would be nothing as a tamer now. Tank and Big Fried Chicken were still emotionally unstable, and the rest of the people were even more desperate. The Blood Team was right across from them, with a sneer on their faces. They would definitely not help them. They wished their team would die. Everyone knew that now that their team was in the swamp, their movement speed was greatly reduced, and they couldn't escape even if they wanted to. The deep shadow enveloped everyone, and everyone couldn't help but despair. Some even gave up resistance and looked up at the sky waiting for death. But at this moment, they suddenly found that a man with black snake wings was rushing from the distant sky. The speed was so fast that it was a bit dazzling. A few seconds later, the black shadow approached, and everyone's pupils widened and exclaimed, "Boss! It's the boss, he finally came. I thought so." There are still very few wings now, and among them, the only one with snake wings is our boss Yeshen. Great, the believers on the Fire Lion Island sent the news that the boss Yeshen killed the red flame lion with a club. It's really amazing. Looking at the sky, Yeshen's figure became clearer and clearer. In the haze of despair, everyone seemed to see a ray of light. Yeshen is their real backbone. When Yeshen comes, they are fearless. On the other side, the blood team looked at the figure of Yeshen flying in the distance, and their eyes suddenly became gloomy. Now there are public opinions about Yeshen's one-hit million damage flying all over the sky. I want to see if he is really like this. Yigun Biaoxue looked cold, and while comforting everyone, he sneered in a low voice. Obviously, one-hit million is too absurd at this stage, and Yigun Biaoxue does not believe it. But at this moment, Yeshen made a move, and Yigun Biaoxue's chin dropped to the ground. The snake wings behind Yeshen shook, and his figure flew forward more than 10 yards, leaving less than 30 yards away from the Swamp King. At this distance, he suddenly made a move and threw a golden dart. Almost everyone present was a master with a certain degree of vision, and knew that this golden dart was just a control skill of the thief's hidden weapon flow, the stun dart. This skill, like the thief's stun club, is a control skill with a high probability of stunning the enemy. One is long range, and the other is short range. And control skills have a characteristic, that is, the percentage is extremely low. The stun dart, Yeshen released it with his bare hands, not counting the weapon base, and the damage caused should be extremely low. However, the stun dart was like a yellow meteor, cutting through the air, and hit the Swamp King with a bang, dash. Immediately, an explosion of damage appeared. The Swamp King wailed and fell to the ground in front of everyone. With a hiss sound, a large number of items died. Tank, Big Fried Chicken, Yukiang Bioxu, and others were all stunned and shocked. This 1 million for one move, is this true? Who cares if it's true or not? Now Yeshen hits 1.8 million with a stun dart, this is obviously unscientific. We are all players over level 40, our big move barely hits 10,000, and Yeshen's control skill hits more than 1 million, which is incredible. Even for me, the maximum burst damage of the double gun is only 100,000 at most, the gap is too big. Yeshen is just like cheating. Everyone in the Bioxu team looked ashen, as if they were scared, even Yukiang Bioxu himself seemed to be frightened, with a gloomy face. Facing such damage from Yeshen, even if he is a king, it is useless. In the face of absolute damage, all techniques are bullshit. In the ancient game, RMB warriors are invincible. Now Dream World does not have the setting of charging money, but Yeshen actually played it like a RMB warrior. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 362. The Swamp King fell to the ground with a crash, and his huge body fell into the swamp, splashing up a large area of black mud and black water, making it a mess. Immediately, its corpse, along with the black mud monster and the swamp area covering the entire battlefield, turned into starlight and disappeared. The scene returned to the original forest. Great, without the swamp field, we can still crush the so-called King's team with our numerical advantage. Nonsense, now that Boss Yeshen is here, we still have a chance. Ha ha ha, yes. Searched Can on Google. Everyone was laughing and laughing, as if all their bad luck had been washed away and they were radiant again. On the other side, the Bleeding Blood team fell into a deep haze. But at this moment, Yeshen killed the Swamp King instantly with a dart, and continued to rush forward without stopping in the air. As he raised his hand, Yeshen threw out 3 darts, piercing the air and shooting out. Hey, Yagamai is coming, Shield Warrior. Looking at the 3 darts that were shot separately, Team Bleeding Blood fell into a great panic. The Shield Warriors roared and charged forward to block. Bang bang bang. Dash. 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 3 huge bursts of damage appeared in succession, and the 3 shield warriors died in an instant with shock in their eyes. The death of the shield warrior further aroused the fear in the hearts of everyone in Team Blood. With the shield warrior's defense, Yechen could still do 500,000 damage with a single dart. What the hell are they? How can you resist it? Number, the boss is so fierce. 1 dart costs 500,000. It's like cheating. Hee, before Dream World came out, we were playing computer games, and we hated cheating the most, but now, when the cheat is on our side, it's so cool. Hey you guys, be careful what you say. What does cheating mean? Boss Yagami doesn't cheat at all. This is strength, extremely powerful strength, do you understand? Understand, 6666. Yechen crushed the enemy as if cheating, making Tank and the others feel relieved, letting out a breath of resentment that had been suppressed before. At this moment, Yechen killed 3 shield warriors instantly, as if he had accumulated enough combo points. Blade Storm and finishing blow. Destroying Storm. Yechen directly turned into a top in the air and spun out rapidly, cutting the air along the way and making a buzzing explosion. At the same time, countless flame darts were shot out, and the Bleeding Blood team was completely unable to withstand it, and was blocked from range in an instant. Seeing that the top is getting closer, the darts are getting closer. The threat of hundreds of thousands of darts makes the enemy tremble. Snort. With a shot of blood, he roared angrily, popped out his wings and flew out, the 2 guns merged, heavy sniper. With a bang sound, a black ball of light shot out from the barrel and suddenly hit the top, knocking it away and causing a wave of air in the air. 1 shot knocked Yechen away, and a smile burst onto his face. He knew that the Blade Storm could only last 3 seconds. The same is true for the Destruction Storm. At this moment, Yechen is repulsed. Even if he rushes back, 3 seconds will pass. However, he didn't know that although Yechen's top was knocked away by him, Xiaohei did not. Buzz, puff puff. The numbing sound of the air breaking through the air and the muffled sound of the dart penetrating the body are still there. In the blink of an eye, dozens of subordinates died inexplicably with a single shot of blood. What's going on? He is recognized as the king of one-shot blood. Before the server of Dream World was launched, he was already famous in large-scale online games in the computer port. Moreover, when world esports competitions are held, he often represents the national team in the competition, and his quality cannot be said. However, now, he actually cursed angrily. One can imagine how excited he was. Boss Bleeding Blood, early intelligence shows that Night God seems to have a summon similar to a shadow. That summons has exactly the same skills as him, and is transparent and invincible. After hearing the information from his subordinates, his pupils shrank and he was horrified. In other words, the Shadow Summoner is still using Destruction Storm here? And you can't even see it? The shot spurted blood and he trembled with fright. He looked down at his team below and suddenly noticed another wave of deaths. At the same time, he heard the sound of Puff being shot through the body by darts. Although he stands in the sky with his wings, he does not rule out the possibility of darts shooting into the sky. When he thought of this, blood flowed from his forehead, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and the fighting spirit that had been shut down earlier burst out again. At the same time, he fired a shot into the void with his left hand, and saw a white light fly out from the muzzle, and then enlarged in a square shape. Not long after, a mirror defensive shield appeared in front of him. Bang bang bang. Almost the next moment, a few more cracks appeared on the mirror, and a dull sound came from it. It seems that the shadow summoning thing is indeed real. The shot spurted blood and his face was gloomy. 3 seconds passed quickly. The entire Bleeding Blood team was strangled by Xiaohei, and suddenly there were less than 100 people left. And after the destruction storm ended, Xiaohe was still using other skills to continue killing. At this stage, Yuchen's damage is off the charts, and Xiaohe is his shadow and has inherited his attributes, which are also off the charts. When the damage reaches this level, even if they act separately, they will basically be killed instantly. Yijiang Biaoxue paid close attention to the scene below, and his heart was startled, but he had no way to deal with it. But at this moment, the gyro that was blasted back by his heavy sniper turned into Yechen's figure again and rushed towards him again. Yijiang Biaoxue was shocked. Facing Yechen's attack power, he was actually afraid. A dignified king actually felt fear. Yijiang Biaoxue felt very humiliated, but Yechen's damage was too abnormal, and he couldn't bear it at all. This was an ironclad fact. If Yechen only has high damage, then I still have a chance. If he can kill me in seconds, I can still kill him in seconds. And my operation, positioning, and even predictive ability are even better. In the blink of an eye, Yijiang Biaoxue's mentality stabilized. After all, he is a battle-hardened king who has seen many storms and waves. Now this is nothing. But while he was thinking, Yechen suddenly turned sharply and swooped down from mid-air flying thunder god. A dart was fired, and Yechen moved to an archer in the blink of an eye, killing him with one blow, but his figure disappeared again. Shadow attack. Yijiang Peixu's nerve reaction was so fast that he saw through Yechen's intention in an instant. Instant step. Yijiang Peixu suddenly rushed forward, walked more than 10 yards away, turned around and fired. Yechen really appeared in the position where he was before, but he opened the domineering body and blocked his attack in an instant. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 363. Bang bang bang. A shot of blood shot out and several shots were fired, but hitting Yuchen's body was like hitting a steel plate. There was a loud explosion, but there were only hundreds of damage points on Yuchen's head. Nowadays, Yuchen's HP exceeds 10,000, and more than 100 points of damage are like drizzle, which doesn't matter at all. Searched Kan on Google. On the other side, a sharp shot of blood noticed Yuchen's domineering body, and he immediately stopped fighting. According to intelligence, Yuchen's hegemonic body only lasts for 5 seconds, and he is a real man for 5 seconds. As long as he survives these 5 seconds, even if Yuchen's HP exceeds 10,000, he can still be killed instantly with one shot. Chiang. Suddenly, one gun fired and the two guns merged, firing a gray cannonball. Bullets and cannonballs fire at extremely fast speeds. Unless you predict them, it is difficult to avoid them simply by moving. In fact, in the later stages, players become faster and faster, and their technical performance becomes more and more obvious. A simple prediction can sometimes change the situation of a battle. At this time, Yuchen relied on his overlord body and without thinking too much, directly shouldered the gray cannonball. Boom. -233. As a burst of damage appeared, a burst of gray mist suddenly arose around Yuchen, temporarily blocking his vision. The range of the gray fog reached a full 20 yards. With a shot of blood and a sneer, he also crashed into the gray fog. This gray fog belongs to the shielding profession, and cannot be seen through by blood-colored eyes, eagle eyes, or even goblin miracle and reconnaissance eyes. The only thing that really makes a difference is perception. But at this stage, most people have no perception at all. Yuchen only has 2 points by completing the hidden mission of nothingness on the 5th floor of the Tower of Death. 2 points of perception are enough to sense things with a radius of 2 yards, which is a diameter of 2 yards. But now that the gray fog has spread to 20 yards, Yuchen's 2-point perception is of little use. Maybe Lan can easily overcome this scene, but now the person involved is not Lan, but Yuchen. Of course, in addition to perception, as the initiator of the gray fog, he can see everything in the gray fog. Smoke bomb. In the gray fog, a shot of blood flowed continuously, attacking Yuchen from all angles. Obviously, with one shot of blood, he wanted to rely on this gray fog to survive these 5 seconds. However, Yuchen just sneered and suddenly took out a Fengshen bag. In the gray mist, Yuchen opened the Fengshen bag, and a huge suction force suddenly came out from the mouth of the bag, causing the surrounding gray mist to pour in. As a result, everyone on the battlefield below saw that the gray mist in mid-air was getting smaller at a speed visible to the naked eye. 2 seconds later, the gray mist disappeared, revealing the figures of Yuchen and Yuqiang who were bleeding. Reload quickly. With a shot of blood, he quickly put the 2 guns back into the sleeves, completed loading in an instant, and was about to take them out to shoot, but he was suddenly stunned. 9 yards ahead, Yuchen was holding a bag in his hand. Could it be that this bag absorbed the gray fog caused by the smoke bomb? I really didn't expect that there is such a thing in the game. A shot of blood was shocked. His smoke bomb was broken, and now he became a living target in the face of Yuchen's absolute damage. Looking at Yuchen's body still shining with the unique golden red light of the Overlord body, he felt a sense of sadness in his heart. You are the king after all. In the face of my absolute damage, you can still hold off for a few seconds. That's enough to be proud of. Yuchen chuckled, flicked his snake wings, and rushed out, cutting through the air and creating a powerful wind. The shot that shoots blood is green fighting spirit, which means that his strongest attribute at this stage is agility. He did not give up and ran away like crazy, but he discovered that the speed he was proud of was not as fast as Yuchen. Feeling the constant whooshing sound of breaking wind coming from behind, my heart was completely chilled by the gunshot. Yuchen would probably laugh out loud if he knew what he was thinking about with a shot of blood. The thief himself has a high base of agility, plus the 7-piece set of hell, wind steps, fashionable lightweight running shoes, and snake wings, his speed bonus 95%. This speed is outrageous. At this stage, it is definitely not possible to equalize with one shot and a few LV3 agility puzzle pieces. The situation of the battle turned sharply again, from the despairing gray fog to Yuchen chasing a shot with blood flying all over the sky. The audience below were so shocked that they couldn't move their eyes away. Tank, Big Fried Chicken and the others were naturally happy, but Team Bleeding Blood was in deep despair. It seemed that all the rumors were true. Yagami could crush the king with $1 million sword. At this time, Yi Qiangshui felt that Yuchen was getting closer and closer, and had given up resistance. Before he died, he suddenly regretted it, because in addition to the smoke bomb, he also had a flash bomb. Flash bombs can temporarily blind the enemy's eyes. If he had used flash bombs instead of smoke bombs, there might be 2 results. But the matter had come to this, and he had no choice but to sigh inwardly. He felt a pain in his back, 290,000 damage appeared on the top of his head, and he died immediately. Succeeded. Boss succeeded, singled out the king, crushed the king. Compared to the last time I used steel cannons to kill Lan Yan, this time I killed him head on. In that case, Boss Yagami is almost at the level of a king, right? Well, there should be. Not necessarily. The hell suit is considered a bug now. Sooner or later it will be harmonious. If by that time, Boss Yagami can still defeat the king, he will be recognized. Who cares, there are plugins that can't be used now. Are you stupid? You must be taking this opportunity to expand your advantage. Tank and others cheered. On the other side, the blood team looked ashen. After Xiao Hei's wave of consumption, they only had less than 20 people left. Earlier, Yuchen and Yi Gun Baoxue had a fierce air battle. The distance had long been far, and Xiao Hei was also dragged away. At this time, Yuchen knocked Yi Gun Baoxue down, rushed out again to merge with Xiaohei, shook his snake wings, dived down, and screamed wherever the blood blade passed. The entire throne army lost half a centaur, which was a heavy loss. It was not until Ye Chen arrived that the situation was turned around. This felt like a reversal. In addition to the ecstasy, everyone could not help but mourn for their dead compatriots. At this stage, as the player level increases, more and more experience is needed to upgrade later. Sometimes, in ordinary wild areas, you can't level up in a day. Now 3,000 or 4,000 people have been killed and dropped, and you can imagine the pain. Okay, now that I'm here, there's no need for the human wave tactic. Ye Chen pointed to the spoils scattered all over the ground. Everyone, after cleaning up the spoils, go away and organize your own team to upgrade. After we gain the advantage in the first stage, we will organize the main members to lead everyone to upgrade. Yes, boss. Hearing this, everyone was immediately ecstatic. If there were main members to lead them, their loss of leveling would be quickly compensated, and would be far greater. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 364. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. For a moment, countless white lights landed on the ship-shaped base and then turned into human forms. Led by Ye Chen, there were a total of 500 people. Ye Chen used the commander to organize these people. Yes, the commander value of the lieutenant colonel was 500 points, which was exactly 500 people. Including Ye Chen himself, there were 501 people. Ye Chen and others stood on the ship-shaped base from a high position, with 3 ships in front. There were still many people on the ships waiting. After all, the ship-shaped base, although this thing can move in the sea, it cannot be put away. If Ye Chen and others are not here and are attacked by the enemy or even deep-sea monsters, someone will be needed to control it. Boss, we are approaching Island No. 48. The crew members, that is, the people on guard, soon found that Ye Chen brought people back and reported quickly. Very good, keep moving forward, Ye Chen ordered. Hearing this, the captains immediately sped up. You know, the ship-shaped base itself has a very fast speed. Now with the Goblin Miracle and the other 2 large ships towing, the entire fleet is very fast and rushes across the calm sea. The fleet drove all the way and drew a huge ripple on the sea. Ye Chen and others jumped off the huge ship-shaped base like dumplings, landed on the ships, and looked up at the approaching island number 48. Huh! Suddenly a cold wind blew, and everyone shuddered. Looking down the wind, they saw an ice ship, which was a small black dot at the beginning, and kept getting bigger and rushing. After the ice ship approached, everyone found that the ice ship was not big, almost the size of an ordinary fishing boat. And on the ice ship, there were some NPC hunters wearing snow-white fleece clothes. These NPCs are actually the natives of Island number 50. Island number 50 is very huge, it is a city on the sea. It even has its own name, called Iceland. Iceland is in the Zhihai national map, beyond the 3 major camps. The natives of Iceland are like goblins, special existences, special races. They look similar to humans, but they are not human race, let alone orcs or elves, but snow tribe. Their skin is very white, whiter than the white people in Europe in reality, just like white snow, with extremely high ice resistance. Green named NPC, it seems neutral. Tank and others found the speeding ice ship and saw the snow tribe hunter on the ice ship, and couldn't help but speak out. Ye Chen nodded. The snow tribe is more friendly and does not exclude other races. This is fundamentally different from the goblins. Traveler from afar, our homeland Iceland is ahead, you can rest or replenish there. We still need to hunt, so we won't bother you too much. When the fleet and the ice ship approached each other, both sides stopped temporarily, and the snow tribe hunter on the ice ship greeted with a smile. Thank you, we will definitely go, the fleet nodded with a smile. Everyone knows that Iceland, that is, island number 50, has the first national copy. All the main forces of the three camps are very interested in the first kill of the national copy, and they will definitely fight to the death. The Night God fleet is no exception. So, Iceland must go, but not now. Because in front of Iceland, there are two islands, number 48 and number 49. After a polite exchange of words, both sides took their own actions. 5 minutes later, the Night God fleet arrived at island number 48. Let's go into the island to kill the national boss. Yachen waved his hand, and the 500-man group shouted excitedly, jumped off the ship, and rushed into the island. Yachen also jumped down and said to the captains, "Keep going, go to island 49 at full speed. The ship type base is good, you can teleport anytime and anywhere." Yachen led his men to kill the first boss of Island 48, and teleported again. The fleet is probably close to Island 49. This advantage is very large at this stage. The first stage of Jihaixia has been developed to the end, so in the second stage, that is, the level 5 area, Yachen and others will still maintain the lead. After sending the fleet away, Yachen found a hidden corner on the shore of Island 48 and inserted a detection device. Suddenly, all the wind and grass movements within 1,000 yards were under control. Yachen is now a lieutenant colonel, and he can receive 5 detection devices and teleporters every day, so he immediately let go. In the perception, Yachen instantly locked the coordinates of the national boss of Island 48. In addition to the boss, there are countless monsters on the island, but there is no player. Yachen chuckled, strode to catch up with the group, came to the front and stood with Tank, Big Fried Chicken, Lan, and others, and said with a smile, "Tank, you are advancing very fast. Now, except for us, other king teams have not arrived yet. Of course, we have a ship-shaped base. If we are not ahead in the advancement speed, what can we do?" Tank laughed. "Haha, the demon army also has a ship-shaped base, but they are not as fast as us, right?" "Tank, the boss is praising us, don't pretend to be modest." Big Fried Chicken laughed. Yachen also smiled and patted Big Fried Chicken on the shoulder. He knew that Big Fried Chicken must have made a lot of contributions during his absence. Even though the Octopus King died many times in battle, his favorability dropped to 72 points, and Big Fried Chicken didn't dare to release it casually, which shows that. After all, the crazy cow only refreshes once a week, and it can only produce 1 or 2 bottles of milk at most, including stealing. In such a fierce battle, Big Fried Chicken's 6 pets need to be taken into consideration, which is naturally far from enough. Yachen has always kept this matter in mind. If there is a chance, he will also find some monsters similar to the crazy cow, raise a few more, and stabilize the combat effectiveness of Big Fried Chicken. Everyone follow me, I know the coordinates of the boss. Because of the detection device, there is no need to send out the thieves to explore first. Yachen gave an order and led the team to rush towards the coordinates of the boss. A forest on island number 48. In the bushes, there are bugs with a body length of 1 yard everywhere. These bugs are fleshy and purple, and they are poisonous bugs. They seem to be threatened by something, very timid, hiding in the bushes and trembling. When Yachen led the team to rush over, the cry of a giant eagle was heard from the sky. Everyone looked up and saw a giant eagle swooping down, creating a strong wind that blew the grass below left and right. The poisonous insects in the grass lost their cover and panicked. Just as they were about to escape, the giant eagle rushed down and easily caught the poisonous insect in its mouth. Gurgle gurgle. The giant eagle stood in front of everyone and ate openly. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 365. The giant eagle was pitch black, with a body length of more than 6 yards. When its wings were spread out, it covered the sky and the sun, probably more than 10 yards. More importantly, its feathers were like steel, giving it a sense of heaviness and hardness. Diamond Eagle, National Lord. Level 49. HP, / Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Skills, Flying, Diamond Arrow, Storm, Steel Guardian, Toxicity. Ye Chen and 500 others were standing here, but the Diamond Eagle didn't even bother to look at them, still leisurely devouring poisonous insects. It's conceivable that it was very confident. On the other side, everyone was also shocked. Ji Haixia had been opening up new land all the way here, and the bosses and monsters on the major islands were almost the same kind. Or maybe the monsters were the boss's guards. Like Island 48, the Diamond Eagle and the poisonous insects were natural enemies. On the other side, the Diamond Eagle was alone and had no reinforcements. This shows the strength of the Diamond Eagle. Everyone present can think of this. If it were in the past, they would have been careful to deal with it. But now, they look nonchalant. Obviously, Ye Chen's one-shot attack costs 1 million, and his finishing move exceeds 10 million, which is enough to kill the Diamond Eagle in seconds, so why should we be afraid? Back off, Shield Warrior Iron Wall, Ye Chen said softly. The Big Storm and Diamond Arrow of the Diamond Eagle are both group attack skills. Moreover, the Diamond Eagle has the ability to fly, and Ye Chen may not be able to kill it instantly. In this way, the team will be more secure if they step back a little. Hearing this, everyone nodded and stepped back immediately. The group retreated 50 yards away, and the tanks and other shield warriors stood in the front row and opened the iron wall at the same time. Multiple iron walls combined to form an indestructible iron wall. At the same time, Ye Chen rushed out, and the Diamond Eagle looked at him with contempt, and flicked his wings, which immediately stirred up a gust of wind. The wind was so strong that it blew a piece of grass in front of him to the east and west. Ye Chen was affected by the strong wind and couldn't help but step back 2 steps. Break the martial arts. With a bang, Ye Chen broke the dagger, turned into a domineering body, and went forward directly against the wind. The eyes of the Diamond Eagle were stern, and it immediately waved its wings. Big Storm. Diamond Arrow. The strong wind blew, smoke and dust rose, and countless feathers as hard as steel flew out, clang clang hitting Ye Chen, but it didn't do much damage. Ye Chen sneered and rushed up. After approaching the Diamond Eagle, he saw that the other party did not fly up, and he was immediately happy. Blade Storm. Ye Chen turned into a gyroscope and spun close to the Diamond Eagle. The powerful adsorption ability tightly entangled the Diamond Eagle, making it unable to fly even if it wanted to. Dash. Dash. Looking at the damage coming out of the Diamond Eagle's head, Ye Chen and the tanks behind him were all surprised. You know, Ye Chen's ordinary attack is more than 500,000, and at this moment, using the skill, it only hit this little damage. It turns out that the Steel Guard is a passive skill, and the defense is really terrifying, Ye Chen said to himself. In his previous life, he had never killed the Diamond Eagle himself, so he was not very clear about some of its skills. The Blade Storm was very fast, and Ye Chen moved to the back of the Diamond Eagle in an instant, releasing the accumulated combo points and launching the finishing move. Piercing. Dash. More than 2 million damage appeared. Although it was a bit low for Ye Chen now, it still took the life of the Diamond Eagle directly. The body of the Diamond Eagle was pierced by the red light, and it fell down with a bang, exploding all the items on the ground. Ye Chen killed the Diamond Eagle for the first time, triggered a national broadcast, and received a lot of rewards. Before, he got the title of the Source of Sin and completed the hidden task. Ye Chen gained a lot of experience. With the Swamp King, the experience reward for the first kill of the Diamond Eagle was directly upgraded to level 47. Although Tank and others did not have the first kill reward, they were in a team relationship with Ye Chen. At this moment, the Diamond Eagle was killed, and they also gained a lot of experience points. You know, With Yechen's current combat power, it is as easy to single-handedly kill the national boss as playing house. The reason why he brought Tank and others was to let them gain some experience. After all, the experience of a national lord is quite rich. After killing the Diamond Eagle, Tank and others breathed a sigh of relief and came over to clean up the spoils with a smile. Yechen stood in the front and saw the low-level diamond at a glance and picked it up directly. Just as he was about to look away, he found that among the copper coins, silver coins, equipment, and materials on the ground, there was an egg the size of a basketball. No way, a pet egg of a diamond eagle, Yechen was shocked. You know, even ordinary monsters have a very low chance of exploding pet eggs. And only female beasts have a chance to explode pet eggs, which makes pet eggs even rarer. Now the diamond eagle has exploded a pet egg. This probability is equivalent to buying a lottery and winning the first prize. Tank, Big Fried Chicken, and Lan rushed over, and were also shocked on the spot for a moment, and then shouted in ecstasy. The pet egg of the state lord. Tisk tisk, I really can't tell, the King Kong eagle is so majestic, but it's actually a female beast. Damn it, Big Fried Chicken is so lucky, first it was Octopus Brother, now there is another eagle brother. Everyone was amazed and cast envious and jealous eyes at Big Fried Chicken. He is a trainer, and the pet of the state lord will play the greatest value if he is placed with him. At this time, Lan took out a sharp iron arrow, and Big Fried Chicken took it, cut his finger and bled, walked over with excitement, and dripped the blood on the pet egg. The basketball-sized pet egg suddenly broke open, and the little diamond eagle baby inside opened its eyes in confusion, called out in a baby voice, spread its tender wings and happily flew into the arms of Big Fried Chicken. Diamond Eagle, National Lord. Level 1. Gender, Male. HP, 1000/1000. Skills, None. Talent, Toxicity. Growth period, Infant. National Lords are almost at the same level as Golden Lords, and their attributes are similar. National Lords even have certain advantages, that is, National Lords are generally huge in size and generally have excellent group attacks. At this stage, with the addition of pets of this level, Big Fried Chicken's combat effectiveness has suddenly increased by another level, and the strength of the entire team has also skyrocketed. Yechen smiled, and he was of course happy that the team had strengthened its strength. Although his current damage is explosive and almost invincible, sooner or later the Hell Suit will be harmonious, and at that time, the role of the team will be reflected. My spirit control technique has just been upgraded to level 6, and I can summon 6 pets at the same time. With the addition of the sacred artifact spirit control belt, the number of pets summoned add 1, I can now summon 7 pets at the same time. This Diamond Eagle came at the right time. Big Fried Chicken smiled. Don't you have skill points? Why don't you max out the spirit control technique? Lan asked curiously. The highest level of the spirit control technique is only 10, which means that the average animal trainer can summon up to 10 pets to participate in the battle at the same time. Of course, Big Fried Chicken is special. He has the sacred artifact spirit control belt, which directly increases the number of pets summoned. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 366. Big Fried Chicken, don't you have skill points? Why don't you fill up your spirit control skills? Not only Lan, everyone is confused. In any case, the more pets a trainer can summon at the same time, the more powerful it will be. The skill of spirit control has a so-called limit, just like fighting spirit. The highest level of spirit control is LV10. Coupled with the sacred weapon spirit belt, wouldn't it be even more powerful when Big Fried Chicken summons 11 pets to join the battle at the same time? Con, Of course I think so too, but the more pets our trainers summon, the faster they consume mana. This is the same as the necromancer, and the more advanced the pet, the faster it consumes mana. Big Fried Chicken smiled bitterly and said, to be honest, it is already very difficult for me to summon 6 pets at the same time, and the battery life is not strong. What does this have to do with it? Island number 1, Soul Reaper, has a chance to explode, the soul harvesting skill tank prompted. Soul Harvest is barely a buff skill and lasts for 1 minute. During this period, attacking the enemy will no longer deduct blood, but dunk. Yes, Big Fried Chicken. Although that skill book is rare, but with so many people in our guild, if we keep grinding for several days, it will explode no matter what, everyone also agreed. Now that Big Fried Chicken has this opportunity, they are also happy for Big Fried Chicken to rise. No, soul harvesting can be used by necromancers. But we animal trainers cannot. After all, pets are not summoned objects. Big Fried Chicken explained, even if there is soul harvesting, I can only recover mana unless I attack myself, but I will not be hurt. After Big Fried Chicken explained it, everyone suddenly realized that, from this point of view, animal trainers are not all good, they also have weaknesses and blind spots. Yechen smiled and said, it's okay, the animal trainer plays with quality, not quantity. That's right, that's what happened. The boss still understands me, Big Fried Chicken smiled. While everyone was chatting, the loot exploded by the Diamond Eagle was also distributed. At this time, Yuchen discovered that a fleet passed through Island 48 and headed towards Island 49 in the Sea of Consciousness. Haha, someone finally caught up. But the speed is still much slower. Yuchen smiled, flicked his hand, and teleported the team to the ship-shaped base. At this time, they could already see Island 49. However, Yuchen took out another high-end ship and headed in the opposite direction. Boss, where are you going? Everyone in the fleet shouted back. I'm going to take care of things. You guys will move on quickly. When you arrive at Island 49, we'll split up to look for the national boss. Yuchen replied and moved forward at full speed. At this time, there was still the enemy fleet in his perception, so Yuchen adjusted the direction relative to the enemy, drove the high-end ship, and galloped away. In less than 10 minutes, Yuchen drove the ship alone and reunited with Lanyan's team at the sea. The so-called Lanyan team is actually a team led by the 2 kings Lanyan and Taishan. They were all majors, each commanding 300 men. At this moment, 600 people were standing on the decks of 3 high-end ships. Yakama, it's Yagami here. He just painted the Diamond Eagle on island number 48. It should be behind us. Why does it appear from the front now? Idiot, you still don't understand what happened now. Yagami's guild throne has a ship-shaped base that can move in the sea. None of these are the key. The key is that Yechen came here alone, he wants to challenge us. Seeing Yechen, everyone in the Lanyan team couldn't help but become restless. Their team was a combination of 2 king teams. But Yuchen actually came over alone, and they felt that their dignity had been challenged. Calm down, the news that Yagami's sword can cause millions of damage is confirmed. Although it is a bug in the hell suit. But at this stage, he does have the capital to challenge us alone. Lanyan was as cold as ever, and her words were as cold as ice, making everyone's hearts flutter and cool down. On top of the absolute damage, he even has a cannon. Tarzan, ready to rebound at any time. Lanyan said coldly, since he is attacking, we will naturally fight against him. Holy Word Mage, wait until the night god approaches, then silence him in sequence, flying, resurrection, breaking martial art, bladestorm, flying thunder god, hell's hand. Last time, Lanyan was bombarded to death by a cannon and was defeated in frustration at the hands of Yechen. After that, Lanyan began to pay attention to Yechen, and he was aware of all the latter's movements. He also knows all of Yuchen's skills. Therefore, there is no need for the Holy Word Mage to read it first, he has already designated the target of the ban. On the other side, Yechen took the helm and controlled the ship, just when the distance from Lan Yan's fleet shortened to 50 yards. He suddenly found that 4 skills on his column turned gray, as if they were sealed and became unusable. They are, Flying, Resurrection, Breaking Martial Arts, Bladestorm, Flying Thunder God, Hand of Hell. However, Yechen had long expected that the other party would be silenced, so he was not surprised at all and instead sneered. As they galloped, the distance between the two sides was still approaching rapidly, 30 yards, 20 yards. Ice array. When the distance between the two sides was less than 10 yards, Lan Yan pressed the ground with one hand and an ice circle popped up. This ice formation covers a 30-yard radius. With a bang, Lan Yan's fleet collided with Yuchen's ship, causing waves to rise into the sky. Lan Yan placed the magic circle on his ship, and approached Yechen in an instant by moving the ship. At this time, Yechen's flight had been banned. Zzz. In the huge ice array, Yechen instantly turned into an ice block, but with his firm will, he broke it again. Haha, his flight is banned. Not only Flying Thunder God, Hand of Hell, his large-scale displacement skills are all banned. I heard that his Bladestorm is very fast, but it is also banned. Without any displacement skills, he can't escape the ice magic circle in a short time. And his Resurrection and Hegemony are all banned. Now he is slightly controlled, we will kill him in one wave. It must be said that Lan Yan is very strong and has a calm and introverted personality. Unlike other kings who are arrogant. Now, he has made sufficient preparations and almost blocked all of Yechen's means. For a while, everyone in the team was also very excited. Now Yechen used his firm will to lift the first round of freezing of the ice magic circle. If there is another wave, they will kill it in 1 second. Lan Yan is really strong, he almost killed me, the team is also very strong, they can disable 6 of my skills, at least 3 holy word mages. However, Yechen sneered and tore the divine escape talisman. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 367. The 3 ships of Lan Yan's fleet were already close to Yechen's ship. The huge ice formation covers the junction. Yechen stood on the bow of his ship, stepping on the ice and was already frozen. It's just that the strong will automatically triggered it and it was cracked again. On the other side, everyone in Lan Yan's team was staring at Yechen, in just 1 second, Yechen would be frozen again. At that time, they would gather fire. Yechen's domineering body and resurrection are all banned, and it's impossible to hold it back. It was only 1 second, but everyone felt it was very long. Suddenly, they couldn't help but admire Lan Yan even more. You know, posts about the Hellsuit bug have become popular on major game forums and post bars. Cheaters from all over the world. Chinese Night God. George and John of America. The King of Korea. Japan's Shomoto. These people are all well known. Yuchen's one-sword attack caused 1 million damage. This incident became a hot topic and almost all Chinese players knew about it. This kind of harm, at this stage, is no different from cheating. But even so, Lan Yan still had a way to target him and forced Yechen into a blind corner at once, which was indeed worthy of the king's strength. For a time, everyone in Lan Yan's team became more and more in awe of Lan Yan. Handsome Lan Yan, I want to give birth to a monkey for you. Susu, Lan Yan's #1 crush, even shouted loudly. Hearing this, the corner of Lan Yan's mouth curled up slightly. Although her expression was still cold, she was also quite excited in her heart. He wanted to see what else Yechen could do in this situation. On the other side, Yechen had a new understanding of the king, or Lan Yan's strength. In fact, he was now really forced to have no way out. Even if it is Xiao Hei's teleportation, it is only 20 yards at most, and there is no way to escape the 30-yard ice circle. In other words, if the Divine Escape Talisman had been used, he might actually have fallen here today. In fact, it was precisely because he had the Divine Escape Talisman that he dared to rush over alone. Divine Escape Talisman. The next moment, under everyone's expectant gaze, Yuchen teleported away and left the ice circle. Impossible. Immediately, someone lost his temper and started yelling. All the skills that should be banned were banned, but Yagami was still able to escape? Lanyan's eyes also widened. No matter what method Yechen used, it was a fact that he got rid of the ice circle. Lanyan didn't want to dwell on anything and decisively ordered, lock the coordinates of Yechen and control it. Concentrate fire and kill instantly. Yes. The army roared together, and everyone looked around, looking for Yechen. However, before they found Yechen, Xiao Hei had already launched an attack. That's right, Yechen used the Divine Escape Talisman to teleport away, but deliberately left Xiao Hei behind. Xiao Hei was in the ice formation, but nothing happened. He smiled and took out the sacred torch. Blow the fire. Dash. 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 A tongue of fire suddenly shot out, killing more than a dozen people in front of Xiao Hei who were completely defenseless. Paralysis, where did the tongue of fire come from? And the damage is so high, a group attack of about 300,000. It must be the shadow-like summon of Night God. It has all the attributes and skills of Night God. More importantly, it is invisible. Everyone screamed and looked nervously in the direction of the flames, but as someone said, Xiao Hei was invisible. Blow the fire. Whoosh. 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 Xiao Hei blew fire continuously, and the flames roared, killing hundreds of people in just a few seconds. Under the inexplicable pressure, everyone in the Lanyan team fell into panic, and the formation couldn't help but collapse. On the other side, Yechen used the Divine Escape Talisman to teleport to the ship wall deliberately. After waiting for a few seconds, he saw that Xiao Hei had made a mess of the Lanyan team. They all climbed up from the ship wall, and at the same time took out the sacred torch and kept blowing fire. Found Yechen. It's too late to control it, gather the fire and start walking. As soon as Yechen appeared, he blew a fire and killed more than 10 people instantly, attracting the attention of those around him. A mage shouted, and hundreds of people immediately set off a wave of fire, with all kinds of arrows raining and fire dragons roaring. Fighting. Yuchen's eyes flashed, and he immediately activated his fighting spirit, and it was LV2 fighting spirit. The red fighting energy rushed out from the solace of his feet, breaking through the air and making a buzzing sound. The rain of arrows and fire dragons came over, but they could barely break through the fighting spirit. The originally powerful skill, which broke through the fighting spirit, seemed to have exhausted its strength, and then hit Yechen, but became light and airy. In this way, even though Yechen didn't have a hegemonic body, he still didn't suffer much damage. Hiss. It turns out to be LV2 fighting spirit. Everyone was shocked. Yechen sneered, continued to blow fire, and killed a dozen people again in an instant. With the blood regeneration effect of the title of the source of sin, Yechen's lost HP was replenished again. So Yuchen and Xiao Hei separated and made a fuss on the enemy ship. Blowing fire, even if they were released separately, there would still be a group attack of close to 300,000 people. At this stage, no one can handle it. In less than 2 minutes, the Lanyan team collapsed, leaving only Lanyan, Taishan, Susu, and a few others. At this moment, Lanyan and Taishan had opened their wings and rushed towards Yechen. They were preparing to make a last-ditch effort. After this period of time, Taishan seemed to have obtained wings. However, at this time, Yechen and Xiao Hei killed the Holy Word Mage, and the banned skills were also unsealed. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Flying. Yechen's snake wings shook, and he flew up, blowing fire at Lan Yan and Taishan. Taishan took a step forward, and the huge shield he held high produced a white light, which actually bounced the flames back again. You know, this flame has 300,000 group attacks, Yechen himself can't stand it. Critical moment. Instant teleportation. The next moment, Yechen and Xiaohe changed positions, and the flames bounced back by Taishan drowned Xiaohe, but Xiaohe was fine, and blew fire directly. Lan Yan and Taishan couldn't see Xiaohe's existence at all, not to mention induction and prediction, and they were swallowed by the invisible flames blown by Xiaohe for a while. Below, Shenmue Susu's eyes condensed. Although she couldn't see Xiaohe, she stared at the blood bars of Lan Yan and Taishan. Dash. Dash. 2 damages appeared inexplicably above Lan Yan and Taishan's heads, and their health bars dropped rapidly like a waterfall. Add 1002. Add 1002. However, Susu waved her slender hands, sprinkled a soft holy light, and pulled the health bars of the 2 people back to the bottom miraculously. God hook. Such a magical technique, Yechen was also amazed. You are indeed very powerful, but it ends here. Yechen sneered, flew into the air and used the Blade Storm, and then released the accumulated combo points to further release the Destruction Storm. In the air, the gyroscope with wings and red fighting spirit all over its body rotated violently, shooting countless flaming darts, sweeping 360 degrees without dead angles. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 368. Looking at the flaming darts flying all over the sky, Lan Yan and Taishan looked at each other and smiled bitterly. They couldn't avoid such an attack. As for the damage, Yechen used the bug of the hell suit and was invincible at this stage, and they couldn't bear it. Puff puff puff. With 3 consecutive sounds, Lan Yan, Taishan, and Susu were shot through the body by flaming darts one after another, and died unwillingly. So far, Yechen singled out the Lan Yan team and won a great victory. Looking at the equipment dropped all over the ground by Lan Yan and others, Yechen turned on the automatic pickup and cleaned it up quickly. Finally, Lan Yan's 3 advanced ships were confiscated. Then, Yechen put away his ship, fell into the sea, and then teleported to the ship base again. At this time, the ship base had docked on the shore of island number 49. Yechen quickly jumped off the ship, greeted the captains, and rushed into the island. The team did not disband. Opening the system map, Yechen could see that Tank, Big Fried Chicken and other teammates were gathering at a certain point on the island. It was obvious that they had found the boss and were now besieging it. Before the flight cooled down, Yechen quickly flew towards the coordinates. In less than 5 minutes, Yechen found the figures of Tank and others. They surrounded a big python and were besieging it. The python was more than 20 yards long and as thick as an adult's embrace. It was emerald green and buzzing with wind. Green python, National Lord. Level 49. HP, / Skills, Wind Domain, Big Storm, Wind Blade, Iron Tail, Clone. No wonder there are strong winds nearby. It turns out to be the wind domain, Yechen said secretly. The swamp domain is more obvious and reduces the movement speed of all enemies within the range. The wind domain is not very obvious and will not cause actual damage or weakening to the enemy. It should be to increase its own. In his previous life, Yechen didn't know much about domains, but now he saw that the green python was extremely fast, so he made such a guess. Haha, no matter how you hold it, I can kill it in 1 second. Yechen chuckled, swung his snake wings, and rushed through the air. When everyone found Yechen, they shouted excitedly. Stun. Dash. Ye Chen rushed over and hit the green python's head with a stick. The latter was stunned, his eyes quickly dimmed, and his huge body also fell down with a bang, stirring up a dust on the ground. National broadcast: congratulations to player Ye Chen for completing the first kill of the National Lord Green Python, and gaining additional experience, 54 million experience points, 50 gold coins, and 1 skill point. The boss killed it again. Millions of damage. Although I know it's a bug in the hell suit, I still can't help but marvel. Ye Chen once again easily killed the boss in 1 second, and everyone was still in amazement. You know, that kind of invincible feeling, they really yearn for it. They clearly knew where the bug was. As long as they got a set of hell suit and accumulated sin points crazily, they could be as perverted as Ye Chen. But they waited and gave up. In fact, since the bug of the hell suit was exposed, major forums, even the official forums, have exploded. Countless people criticized the official and demanded that it be harmonized quickly. But there are still a few people who acted silently. They want to get a set of hell suit to play with before it is harmonized. Obviously, the hell suit is not so easy to make. At least 10,000 sin points and the title of Abyss Demon can open the door to hell. And 10,000 sin points basically cannot make a hell suit. At least 30,000 points. Those who are weak and can't beat the Golden Lord need more. And if you don't have a sinful heart, you can only kill people in the same camp if you want to do sin, which makes it easy to be targeted. And the hell suit will be harmonized at any time. If it is not harmonized before it is made, it will be a waste of effort. So whether to do it or not is a big question. Let's go to Iceland and open up the national dungeon. The spoils of the Qingmang were quickly distributed by everyone. Seeing this, Ye Chen waved his hand and everyone turned into white light. In the ship-shaped base, countless white lights descended, and the tank shouted to the captain on the ship in front, "Let's go, target Iceland." System: you found Iceland, recognition add 100 points. System: you are affected by the cold air of Iceland, ice resistance minus 100 points. About 20 minutes later, Ye Chen led the team to Iceland. This Iceland is very large and the air is cold. Ye Chen and others walked on the snowy road, and from time to time, people from the Snow Clan who passed by greeted them. The people of the Snow Clan are kind and generally not hostile to anyone, but if someone takes the initiative to provoke them, they will not be soft-hearted. Tisk tisk, any Snow Clan member I look up at is basically a question mark, which shows that their level is not low. Not only that, they must be good at ice skills. Our ice resistance has dropped by 100 points when we arrived at Iceland, so we are probably no match for them. Along the way, people in the team whispered from time to time. Ye Chen smiled. Others didn't know, but he knew that the people of the Snow Clan were at least level 60 and good at ice skills. They had an absolute advantage in Iceland. At this stage, most people didn't dare to be presumptuous. Of course, he was an exception, but he naturally wouldn't provoke the Snow Clan for no reason. This chapter is not over yet. Please click the next page to continue reading. After walking for a few minutes, we met a team at a fork in the road. It turned out to be the demon army. "Hey, you are here too." The demon saw Ye Chen and others and greeted them. Tank was stunned. "It is normal for us to come here. How come you are so fast?" "We have already opened the ship-shaped base near Iceland. We used the advanced base to open up the wasteland in Xia. Now all the islands in the first stage have been taken, so of course we teleported here." Black Dragon laughed. "Now there is only this Iceland left in the first stage. I believe those guys will arrive soon in the first national copy," the demon added. The guys he was talking about were naturally those king teams. Well, the national copy can accommodate multiple teams at the same time. "Although we arrived first, it is not a big advantage," Ye Chen said. "Bullshit, it's not a big advantage. You are now worth 1 million with one knife. It seems that you are the first to kill the national copy, the demon said contemptuously. The throne and the demon army are friendly forces at this stage, and the two sides have temporarily made peace. Along the way, the main forces of both sides chatted with each other. Not long after, an old man with white hair came over with a cane. I welcome all the warriors on behalf of the Snow Clan. The old man smiled and introduced himself. It turned out that he was the chief of the Snow Clan. But he was not the current one, but the previous one. The current chief is trapped in the flame wormhole. People of our Snow Clan are extremely afraid of flames. I hope all the warriors can help us and rescue the chief. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 369. Not long ago, a fire wormhole appeared on Iceland. The Patriarch was worried that the fire energy from the cave would destroy Iceland, so he went down to explore alone. Almost 2 weeks have passed, but he has not returned. The old Patriarch sighed silently. The people of their Snow Clan are afraid of fire. That is why they need help to save the Patriarch. After hearing this, everyone looked at each other, and there was enlightenment in their eyes. The fire wormhole mentioned by the old Patriarch should be the national copy, and its real name is Gothic Attack. Just talking about the name of a copy, players can't imagine the monsters in the copy at all, but the old Patriarch said it was a fire wormhole, which indirectly indicated that this copy was mainly fire attributed. The so-called wormhole is not all the caves of insects. Generally, many people like to call it a wormhole. Don't worry, old man, leave this matter to us. Everyone laughed. There is actually a hidden line here. The national copy is obviously very large, and it can even accommodate multiple teams at the same time. Brushing the copy is one thing, and saving the Patriarch of the Snow Clan is another. At this moment, the old Patriarch made a request, but did not issue a task. Those who were interested naturally understood that there was a hidden task in it. Haha, okay, thank you warriors, I will lead the way for you now. The old Patriarch laughed with relief, and led the Yuchan team and the demon army, a total of 800 people, forward. A few minutes later, under the leadership of the old Patriarch, everyone came to an empty snow bamboo forest, where there was a black hole with a range of more than 30 yards. The black hole emitted some high temperature, which was rare in Iceland, and it was a bit warm. But the people of the Snow Clan were not afraid of the cold, and they did not want this level of warmth, and they were even very afraid of it. The old Patriarch had a fearful expression and retreated repeatedly. Warriors, the next step is up to you. I hope you can find out the secret of this fire wormhole and rescue the Patriarch. I sense that there are guests coming to Iceland, so I will take my leave first. Another guest is coming? Did those king teams come so quickly? Also, this old Patriarch said he sensed, could it be that his perception has hundreds or thousands of points? Everyone looked at the old Patriarch's back until he disappeared, and then whispered. Of course, more people focused on the black hole. Gothic Raid, National Dungeon. Entry requirements, level 40 or above. Commander limit, 1000 points. Dungeon opening time, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Note, during the dungeon opening time, all players can enter the challenge. After the final boss Gothic Foot dies, the dungeon is closed. Current number of people in the dungeon, 0. It's really a national dungeon. All players can challenge it at the same time. I don't know how terrible the reward will be for the final winner. Everyone sighed. Yeshen, I'll go first. Although we are united in our stance, if this national dungeon ends with only you and me, I won't let you go. The demon sneered and waved his hand, and the demon army jumped down the black hole collectively. Yechen smiled. After the demon said that, he could let go. Okay, let's go down too. Yachen waved his hand and led the team to jump into the black hole. System, you found Gothic attack, recognition add 100 points. As the system prompt sounded in his ears, Yachen and others came to a huge underground palace. There were walls all around, and the vision was dim, but it was still visible. Everyone looked around, but they didn't see the demon army, which meant that the two sides were not born at the same point in the dungeon. Tank and others immediately opened the system map, but found that the Gothic raid dungeon was extremely huge, with a maze on the outside and a forest in the middle, with a ratio of at least 10:1. And the forest was marked in red by the system, which proved that the final boss was in that huge forest. In other words, if you want to fight the boss, you have to get out of the maze and enter the forest first, Tank said. Hearing this, everyone nodded. This dungeon is too big. According to the system map, the area of this national dungeon is no less than Iceland, which is huge as you can imagine. The forest in the middle is almost 1,000 yards in size, and outside is a palace-style maze. The 500 members of the Night God team are in a corner of the maze. On the entire map, there are only some densely packed small light spots. There are walls everywhere around them, all over the place. After all, it is a maze, and it is not so easy to get out. Although all players can enter the national dungeon at the same time, the difficulty can be imagined. There is only one boss in the end. If one player or one team defeats it, all other people and teams will be losers. Not only will they not get any rewards, but they will also be punished with -20% experience. In the past, the national dungeon was extremely popular. Once it was opened, countless players and teams would rush in, but most people didn't even see the boss, and they failed and their experience dropped by 20%. In short, let's look at the map first and find the way out of the maze before we set off, Uncle Soy Sauce said. As he spoke, he sat down on the spot, carefully observing the map and studying the maze. That's right. If you don't find the way out of the maze first, then no matter how many times you walk, it will be a dead end. Lan nodded in agreement, so most people sat on the ground and began to study the maze. In response, Yachen also nodded in appreciation. This is indeed the best way. Although he had played this national dungeon in his previous life, the birth point was randomly refreshed every time. Different birth points have different exit routes, and no one can remember them all. So, when playing national dungeons, it is the best way to study the map first. But there are still people who hold different opinions, that is, the musketeers in Jao. He is a hot-tempered person. He would rather die than look at the map, study the complex maze. Boss, your attack power is so high now, try to see if you can blow up the wall. Xinjiao laughed and said, hee, if you can blow up the wall, then we don't have to sit here and study the map stupidly, just charge. Encounter a dead end. It doesn't matter, blow up the wall and keep moving forward. Huh. Hearing this, everyone was also stunned. Yes, if Yachen can blow up the wall, why bother with research? Just charge forward. Haha, you guys can think of it, but the planner can't. Yachen smiled and said, maybe there is a trap outside the wall. After Yachen said this, everyone's restless hearts cooled down. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 370. You know, the drop rate of national dungeons is quite generous. In the previous life, there were often high-level players coming back to play. For example, a level 80 Saint player can completely play this Gothic assault alone. Saint players playing low-level dungeons definitely have no patience. They don't study the maze and just sweep all the way. If they encounter a dead end, they just blow it up. However, outside the wall, there are often traps, freezing traps, swamp traps, groups of monsters, and so on. As strong as the Saint, Ordinary traps are not enough to threaten life. But being controlled frequently will also reduce efficiency. After many tests, rushing around, often before finding the exit, it is faster to follow the steps. After all, the maze of Gothic Assault is very simple, and it is directly shown to you on the map. Spend some time to study the exit, there are hundreds of benefits and no harm. Yechen couldn't explain the experience of the previous life, but he still advocated studying the exit of the maze. At this time, everyone sat down and studied the map carefully. Not long after, a cold wind came from the front. Whoo! This sound attracted everyone's attention. Following the sound, they saw a black shadow on the distant wall. The shadow was in human form, holding a sickle in his hand. Gothic Shadow, Elite. Level 42. HP, / Skill, Shadow. So that's it? If you want to play this dungeon, you must study the exit of the maze. Uncle Soy Sauce stood up and said, and setting up monsters in the maze is to disturb our minds and prevent us from concentrating on studying the maze. If you can still concentrate in a noisy environment, please continue to study the maze. The rest stand up and protect them, Tank roared and took the lead to stand up. Swish. For a while, most of the team stood up and looked at each other. Damn. Why are you all standing up? Who is studying the maze? Almost everyone in the entire team stood up, only 2 or 3 people did not stand up. Everyone, sit back down, Gothic Shadow, it's just a small monster, there's no need for so many of you. Now studying the exit of the maze is the best way, Tank scolded with a smile, and most people sat down again. So, Yechen, Tank, Uncle Soy Sauce and a few others dealt with Gothic Shadow, and all the others continued to study the exit of the maze. Change clothes. Gothic Shadow was obviously immune to physical attacks. Yechen took out the holy torch, aimed at Gothic Shadow and blew fire, hitting more than 500,000 damage, killing it instantly. 10 minutes later, Monkey stood up excitedly, I figured it out. Follow me. As he said that, Monkey had already rushed out. Yechen was overjoyed and shouted, and the army followed Monkey. Along the way, when he encountered Gothic Shadow blocking the way, Yechen blew fire and took it away. As for those on the walls on both sides that were not blocking the way, Yechen didn't care. If it was a normal copy, only after one room was opened would the next room be opened, but this country copy Gothic raid was obviously not like this. The mist monsters are mist, it doesn't matter at all. Because Monkey has already researched the exit of the maze, he walked very decisively. Whatever monsters he encountered along the way, Yechen's blowing fire basically killed them instantly without any obstacles. This copy can query the current number of people. Now there are more than 5,000 people. It seems that in addition to us and the demon army, those king teams have also come in. What's the big deal? Monkey has researched the exit of the maze, and Boss Yechen is responsible for killing monsters instantly. We have no obstacles, and the first kill will definitely be ours. That's right, I just don't know if the patriarch of the Snow Clan is trapped in the maze or the forest. The forest is okay, if it's in the maze, we don't have to think about that hidden task. Everyone knows that with Yechen here, the first kill of the national copy is almost guaranteed. On this basis, they began to focus on the hidden task, that is, to rescue the patriarch of the Snow Clan. If the Snow Tribe leader is trapped in the maze, there is nothing that can be done. After all, the maze is so big that it is good enough to find your own exit. No one would bother to walk through the entire maze. In his previous life, when Yechen was brushing the dungeon of this country, his level was already very high, and the hidden task had been completed by someone else, so he didn't know where the Snow Tribe leader was. At this time, under the command of Monkey, the Night God team turned a corner and entered the next maze passage. Boom boom. The crowd continued to move forward for a while, and boulders began to fall from the top of the palace above. Those boulders, with a diameter of about 1 yard, suddenly fell down. If they fell on the heads of fragile professions, they would be killed instantly. It made everyone panic. Yachen said calmly, "It doesn't matter. This is a dungeon. As long as I kill the final boss, I will get the first kill, and the people who die in the team will not suffer any losses." Hearing this, everyone nodded and continued to venture forward. This passage is particularly long. Since the first boulder fell, the boulders behind it have not been interrupted. After everyone passed this path, the Night God team originally had 500 people, but now only had more than 300 people. Damn it, it's a national copy after all, it's still difficult. This is just the beginning. In the later stage, the level of the large army has risen, and it's possible that a national copy will be cleared by millions of people at the same time. At that time, I'm afraid that in every passage in the maze, there will be enemies. That kind of fighting is terrible. While everyone was sighing, they continued to move forward, and after turning through several passages, there turned out to be a thorn forest in front of them. This is the so-called road to death. The maze in Gothic Raid is very simple, because the map is displayed directly, and players can always find the exit if they take a moment. Some high-level national dungeons do not have maps, so mazes like that can be considered real mazes. Putting aside this, the maze of Gothic Attack has more than one exit. Some exits have dangerous roads and are called roads of death. The exit that the monkey found was the only way to live or die. It turns out to be a road to death. Looking at the thorn forest ahead, all kinds of sharp barbs flashed coldly, and the monkey smiled bitterly. "I don't blame you, after all, no one knows." Yachen smiled and said, "And thorns are not a dead end." After speaking, Yachen used the sacred torch to blow the fire, and a tongue of flame shot over, and with a brush, it actually ignited the thorn forest. These thorns seemed to be old and extremely flammable. In the blink of an eye, a sea of fire appeared in front of everyone. The flames burned all the way back along the thorns, and the thorns in front had been burned to black ashes. "Let's go, keep moving forward." Yachen patted Monkey on the shoulder and smiled. The monkey smiled and nodded. "Although this road is difficult to walk, if you turn around at this time, you will have to find the exit again. It's possible that the next one will be a dead end again. Therefore, first go all the way to the dark side. If you really can't move forward, it's not too late to turn around."